Hey, welcome Broken World Entertainment and episode 7 of The Rings of Power. What's this episode? This episode is walking and talking. And I'm not messing, it's literally walking and talking. So we start off where last week left off with Mordor being formed because Mount Doom erupted thanks to a bit of water. So we get Cheeto Dust Gladriel. We've all seen the images, we've all seen the clips of her in the ash of the aftermath. And she's looking around, looking at what's left. Amazingly, almost the entire village, the people, I should say, survived. How? Don't know. They don't exactly tell you how they survived. They don't tell you where they were to survive. But they survived. And it's really, really weird. And she comes across Theo. And they're like, okay, we gotta leave here. We gotta start moving. It's so stupid. Oh my Christ. But for some reason, almost all the villagers are alive. So, for some reason, Gladriel and Theo don't see everyone else. Which is really strange because they're all in the same bloody spot. Because then we go to Muriel and who's she with? She's with who's she with? Yeah, she's with someone. And they're all looking at her, and the captain is there, and he's trying to save people. Isildur is there. And Isildur and Muriel. Oh, actually, Isildur lifts up a like a roof beam, and one of his brothers, his friends, whatever they are, is dead. The white dude, the one who wanted to stay at the village instead of going back out to war because he's seen enough war for a lifetime in one battle. Yeah, he's dead. So they go into the tavern. Yeah, they all go back to the tavern. Find a bunch of people. The fire, like everything's burned. The roof's on fire, or what's left of the roof. A lot of the kind of burning amber comes down and into Muriel's eyes. So she's blind. And the roof seems to cave in on Isildur. So they're making it out that he's dead. He's not dead, because we know where he ends up in the trilogy. The Peter Jackson trilogy, that is. And where do we go from there? The goddamn Harfoots. Yeah, we're with the Harfoots again. Poppy's still singing. We're with the wizard. And they come across kind of scorch marks and stuff from where obviously boulders and bits of lava bombs basically hit from the explosion of Mount Doom. And they're like, oh, our story's told of this type of thing, and it said a great evil is why this would happen, and they all think it's the wizard. Yeah. And then we jump to Elrond and Durin, and they're having a face-to-face with King Durin the Third, asking permission to mine for the Mithril. And they're told no, basically. King Durin wants to speak with Durin alone, and he basically says everything has its time and it's the elven's time. And they have a bit of a blow up. And then Disa is having a conversation with Durin about Ting being an idiot. And Durin, Elrond comes in, and Durin basically apologizes to him, and you're saying goodbye. And Elrond hands him back that piece of mithril he gave him, and when Elrond leaves, Durin gets angry and he throws the mithril across the table, and it stops right beside the leaf. And what happens? The leaf heals. You know, the dead leaf from the tree. That heals. Then we go back to Galadriel and Theo, and they're just walking through the forest. They're heading back towards the Numenor camp. They're just talking. He's talking about, will his mother be alive? He wants to fight the orcs and all this stuff. And again, we get Galadriel being a hypocrite, because she's like, no, we can't do that. You know, you have to stop yourself from doing that. Otherwise, you know, you'll have a great evil in your heart. And it's like, bitch, you've just been hunting orcs for over 1,000 years. But okay. All of a sudden, now it's a bad thing. And a few orcs come walking along and almost find them. Excuse me. Then we go to Miriel. The captain finds, or is it the captain who finds her? I think so. Someone finds her. And you straight away realise, oh, she's blind. She's been blinded by... It's not the captain, it's the curly-headed son. The guy who got promoted when he managed to cut the sleeve on Galadriel's jumper, top, whatever it is. He comes across her and straight away realises, oh, she's blind. And then we go back to the Harfoots, who are asking the wizard to leave. Basically, he tries to heal the land that they're in. They're in scorched land. And he puts his hand on the tree and he does a spell, and he's trying to heal the tree, and it starts working by the looks of it. And one of the Harfoots, I think it's Snorri's little sister. Little, they're all little. Kind of runs towards him, and it's like it's working, and part of the tree falls and almost kills them, so they think, oh, he's evil, because this dipshit ran out into where she shouldn't have been. So they basically give him, Henry's character gives him a map and stuff, and kind of says there's people he knows out in, like, was it east or west, some direction, and says, basically gives him a pep talk, like, oh, I hope you find what you're looking for, blah blah blah. And off he fecks. Then we go back to Galadriel, and her and Theo are still goddamn talking. This is actually where the orcs come across them. It wasn't the other scene, it's this scene. And she's talking about loss, and she actually brings up Celeborn. You know, Galadriel's husband. Where the hell is he in this show? Well, she says she's lost her brother and her husband, Celeborn, alluding to that he's dead. Because she says, I think it was a dance they were at or something, and she says that was the last time she ever saw him. And then the orcs come walking up and almost find him, because Galadriel had given her sword to Theo, because he wants to know, is he a warrior? And he goes to draw the sword, and the noise of it coming out of the sheath it alerts the orcs, and one of them starts sniffing, and they're like, what do you smell? And he goes, ash, nothing but ash. And they're like, right, we're wasting time. They feck off. Because Durin saw the leaf heal from the mithril beside it, we go to Durin and Elrond digging for the meat down in the mine. And each hit Durin is doing, it's upsetting the rocks to the point it might collapse. No, Elrond is like trying to explain to them, you have to give time to rest, which makes no sense, but whatever. They get a hole through and find all the veins of the meatball, and as Durin tells Elrond, quick, have a look at this, and they're looking, you see it all, and they turn around excited, and they were caught by Durin. He finds them. So Durin, I should say King Durin, and Durin the Fourth are up having an argument. And Durin tries to tell his father that Elrond is basically like a brother to him and stuff, and says it's like he's that much of a brother. It was like he was born from the same womb as he was, and his father's not happy with him invoking his mother's name like that, and strips him off his title. And they have a bit of a back and forth. King Durin is telling him, you're trying to extend yourself too much, and he's telling him, no, you're a fool because you're trying to live in the past and whatever. Then we go back to the Harfoots. Yay. And it's Nori. Nori wakes up and Poppy is there just eating apples. And she's like, that's all this one does, sing and stuff her face. But she's eating apples. She's like, what are you doing? Like, you gotta save them. We'll run out on our journey. And she's like, you better take a look outside. So she looks out, and of course, all the land is healed. It's all perfect, pristine. All the trees have apples grown in them everywhere. So they're picking apples like they're going out of fashion. They're loading up tons of food for the journey. And then they're in the water, collecting water, which, by the way, they're standing in it with their smelly bare feet, and they're taking that water to drink. And Poppy finds footmarks. And who is it? It's the evil nuns. Because they turn around and we see the evil nuns. So then it goes to nighttime a bit, and Nori and Poppy are hiding in like the tree line, and they see the tree nuns that are walking off into the direction that the wizard went. And Nori tries to stop them by tricking them. She comes running out to them and says, hey, you're going the wrong way. He didn't go that way. He went that way. And when she turns back, they're gone. And they can't find them. They're like, what the hell? And all of a sudden, a hand comes in and picks one of the acorns out of Nori's hair, and they turn around, and the three of them are standing right there, to where the rest of the Harfoots come running up, and her father comes up with a torch, a burning torch, and sticks to them and tells them, like, if they harm a hair in her head, he'll hurt them, basically. And Slim Shady Nun grabs the torch and just sucks all the fire out of it, holds up her hand. You've seen this bit in the trailer where she blows into her hand and all the fire kind of comes out, and she burns all the wagons of the Harfoots. Every last one of them. Destroys all of them. Then we go to the Numenor camp, where the captain, I still don't know the captain's name, Isildur's father, he's looking at everyone coming in, and he sees Isildur's horse, and goes out, and the horse won't rest, and he's trying to command the horse to be easy, and you're coming home with us, and it won't listen. And he's told by the curly-headed fuck, yeah, it won't listen. So they let the horse go, and the horse goes jogging on, and no doubt next episode the horse will come back with a Isildur on it. Has he found Muriel at this stage? Yeah. Did they? Sorry, I'm trying to think whether or not, because we went to the horses. Yeah, I left that part out where the captain and stuff comes across the curly-headed fuck, and Muriel doesn't realize she's blind. How? Don't know. But she's on the horse, and they're on their way to the camp. And um, so sorry, this is before obviously they got to the camp, and um, what do you call it? Muriel keeps asking how far to the camp, and he says X amount of miles or whatever. And she said, when will we clear up the smoke? And that's when he realizes, and he stops and turns around and looks at her, and she says, how long have we been out of the smoke? And he's like, about a mile or so. And realizes, oh, she's blind. So we're back at the camp. He's wishing he never brought Gladriel onto the boat. There's no sign, by the way, of Halbrand yet. He's wishing he never brought Gladriel onto the boat. Then Gladriel and Theo arrive at the camp, and Theo goes into the med tent, basically. Thinks he's found Bronwyn, thinks she's dead, and then she's behind him and calls him, and she's fine. And then Black Elf is there, and him and Theo have a little hug. Then Gladriel is brought to Muriel, and the captain wants to leave. He's like, yeah, we're done here, we're just going home, recover our losses, whatever. But Muriel is pretty defiant and spacey. By the way, she's wearing a blindfold now. And the story with this is she wears a blindfold to convince her followers she's not blind. Work that one out. She is blind, but now she's going to wear a blindfold to convince people that she can see. Right. So she's pissed off because of what happened, and she's like, yeah, no, we're going to go back to Numenor. We're going to gather our forces again because these don't know who they're messing with. Slay Queen time. We're coming back and we're going to kick some ass. Then we go back to the Harfoots, who are in their little burnt out wagon area. And Nori decides she's going to go and try and find the wizard. And they're like, you can't go alone. Poppy says she won't be alone. And then they all decide, we're going to go off trail just this once to find him. And the weird thing is, they're like, yeah, we can't leave him behind. It's like, you literally had a kind of memorial service for all the Harfoots that died. They didn't die because of old age or disease or something. They died because you fucking left them behind. But all of a sudden they're like, oh, we can't leave anyone behind. Whatever. Then Gladriel is brought into a tent by Bronwyn and Don Lemonelf, and Halbrand is there. He's injured, and him and Gladriel are gonna go. He's got this big wound on his side, like from his hip halfway up to just under his pec, basically. And she's like, is he good enough to ride? And they're like, well, we'll do this. And she's like, okay, well, I have to get him back to the Elven place, which name right now, for some reason, has just left me. her home, basically. And all of a sudden they walk out of the medical tent and it's like, oh, he's walking around pretty bleeding fine for somebody who shouldn't be. And they all start chanting King of the South or something like that. They get on the horseback and they're going to go, and then Theo starts chanting uh, strong as the South, or South is strong, or something like that. And then the whole crowd chanted. Then we go to Durin and Disa, and they're having a conversation about how stupid his father is, the king. And Disa basically gives him a speech of saying, look, as much as he wants to take titles away from him and everything, what he doesn't realise is the whole kingdom will be yours and mine someday. And we'll do things differently and stuff. And the leaf, I can't remember whether it got blown down the hole where the meteorite is, or whether he threw it. But it goes down and it lands and it burns away. And what do we get? We get the shot from the trailer of the Balrog, which they spoiled completely in the trailer. It was like meant to be this big reveal. Oh my god, it's a Balrog! And they gave it away in the trailer. And what you get in the trailer is what you get off it. And then we close out with Adar. Adar and the orcs, and he's telling them to remove their sun clothes, the shields, their hoods, that these lands are now their lands. The old smelly dude, the barman, how the fuck he survived, don't know, but he's still standing there and he's like, yeah, our land, all this crap, and hail, Adar, whatever. And then they're like, actually he's saying hail, Southland or whatever. And Adar's like, yeah, it's no longer the Southland. They're like, well, what would we call it? And you get a shot off Mount Doom, and just the words, the Southlands, come up, and they burn away, and it turns into dun dun dun, Mordor. I was expecting him to say Mordor because I just wanted to hear him roll his R's like 100 times. Mordor. But that didn't happen. And that's the episode. Nothing happens. It was all walking and talking. Thank Christ there's only one episode of this shit left. And what are we going to get in that one? Pretty much the reveal that Halbrand is Sauron. Shh. Don't tell anyone, because they are really pushing you to think it's the wizard. Alright. With that, I'll leave it there for this one. Cheers. Catch you in the next.